What you can see us doing here is breaking out a little concrete chase to put this armoured cable into, which is coming from the consumer unit in the house, going out through to a garden to feed a workshop and a shed. Gives me a chance to talk about using a concrete breaker. This is a little Hilti breaker. It's a cracking little tool. It's the TE24. This is for little chases and the like. You can, if you don't get a Hilti, you can get a Kango breaker, and then you move up to bigger breakers and compressors for bigger jobs. The important thing to remember is that when you're cutting into concrete, you go to the edge first. If you can find an edge, go through to the edge, because if there's a space for the concrete to go into, then there's greater vibration and the edge will break away more quickly, and you have a great deal of control over it. Don't be tempted to use this blade as a lever to lever the concrete out. That's not what they're for. Break it up first and then use a wrecking bar or another type of bar to get the concrete out, but don't use these because you'll put a lot of pressure on the breaker itself and you can break the chuck or indeed the whole thing. There's 2 or 3 different kind of chisels. These are faithful chisels. They're great quality and really good value. This is a straightforward 38mm, I think it is, chisel, a straight cut chisel. This one is obviously a point. This one is a flat, we call it a scraper blade. This is for getting floor tiles off, for quarry tiles or whatever, or scraping, taking a screed off of the floor. It allows you to come in at a steep angle, but the blade is offset so you can get underneath the tiles or whatever. And this is a gouge blade, simply for gouging out small pieces of concrete, little chases or whatever, wherever you would need. We use this a lot for keying one concrete surface to put on another or whatever. So this gouges out the surface, much like a gouge chisel does in woodworking. So that's how to use a breaker. Always wear your safety equipment. Well, I don't wear gloves, but I'd suggest you do. I don't get a lot of feel out of gloves when I'm doing this kind of work, and I want to be in complete control of it. So make sure it's okay to lift the little bits of loose stuff and that with the blade, but don't use it as a lever to get the concrete out. Hold tight onto the body and tight onto the handle. Keep control of your unit, but if you feel, if you're putting too much pressure on when it starts to break and you go down, keep the motor running when you pull the tool out of the ground again, otherwise it can get stuck. So remember, work from the edges if you possibly can. If you can't work from an edge, you might find that if you're working on a path or something like this, then a couple of good whacks with a sledgehammer will give you a crack or an edge to work to. See our video on using a sledgehammer on YouTube and the DIY Doctor website. But these faithful blades are just about, they're just going to do the trick for me. They're really good quality, and we're happy to use them. So this is how to use a breaker video, and I'll continue with the job. So there we have it, trench complete, armoured cable lying in there, just ready to concrete it, reinstate the path. The armoured cable itself you can find out more about on YouTube, how to get your power outside, but really that's it for us. Concrete that in and that's job done. The armoured cable can be clipped to the fence all the way down the garden. That's what armoured cable's for, but for this particular bit we had to get across an opening, so the ideal way was to use a breaker and bury it underground.